International Women's Day is a day to encourage people around the world to come together and challenge stereotypes, to fight bias, to improve situations, and to celebrate the accomplishments of women, all in an effort to create a gender-equal world.
I realized really early about the gender bias because one of the classes we had to pass was mechanical. You had to, you had to do some woodworking and mechanical tile work. So the first thing that the teacher said was, this is for guys, you're not going to pass this. So I worked extra hard just so I could pass it, but not just pass it, I passed it with flying colors. It's interesting to see my kids growing up. I think things are getting better, but for me it's always been work harder so you could stay relevant and prove a point that you're as good, if not better.
I'm really passionate about the idea of gender equal because as a working mom, my husband works as well, so we're dual income families. And I think that if you foster more gender equal environments, it kind of gives both parties more flexibility. So I think today there's still that notion that as a working mom, you still have to be the one that runs out when you get that call from school or has to make that appointment. And I think that there's a lot of men today that are equally involved in raising the children and doing what they need to do. And if they had more of that flexibility in their work environments, it would take less pressure off of both sides.
We're still in an environment that puts a lot of the responsibility of parenting and motherhood on moms. That also, because of gender inequality and the pay gap, assumes that females are the ones that should leave their jobs. When you take that and couple that with the lack of daycare and really affordable daycare, it means that a lot of moms have to bear the burden of actually having to stay at home. We don't give men enough credit, and I think if we really, really want equality in the workplace for women and men, we need to empower men, but encourage men to be parents, not just to be working men, to be there with their kids, and celebrate moms at what makes them really good in the workplace.
It's really interesting to think about the workplace and the upcoming generation and the roles that they're going to fill and the jobs that will be available to them. I think as we think about education and today's education and preparing women as well as men or boys and girls, if you will, for careers that are going to be ahead of them, making sure that there are things like STEAM available and equally available for both boys and girls, making sure that there was actually a report that came out this week that I saw that kids' expectations of what they want to have for a job for the future is actually mismatched with what jobs are going to be available. So how do we make sure we prepare both boys and girls equally for what the future is going to be and what the workplace is going to look like, and make sure they're equally able to succeed for their careers?
Early in my career, I was scared to death to have a child. So just the thought of having a child personally, but then also in the workplace, thinking that I wouldn't be able to elevate within my career. My perspective has changed drastically. I've been in the children baby gear and toy industry for almost 13 years. So that also catered to a different lens. I'm standing here in a leadership role within a company, so you can do both.
The world has changed to some degree, but it also depends on your management and your company. And so I do have, I obviously still have kids, and they have events in their lives, and I have team members that have kids, and I have a boss and colleagues, and we're all allowed to kind of embrace and enjoy those moments and still be able to be considered in doing a strong job and not kind of penalized, if you will, for being a parent and a female, to embrace both of those sides of my world. So
I had to get past the guilt of not being there enough for the kids, right? The guys never thought that way. They just said, I'll put them in daycare. And then, you are the parent who's running around trying to compete with the moms who are baking while you are trying to do store-bought cookies. I had to forgive myself, right? I mean, I said, I'm going to do the best for them, but I'm going to try my hardest. And so I think it was a lot of me time. I gave my kids, I didn't want to take anything away from them. I didn't want to take anything away from the job. I think I took away a lot from myself. The younger ones are doing a much better job because the fathers are helping a lot more these days.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. We really appreciate you taking the time.